Kyrgios defeats Sabalenka, but battle of the sexes veers too close to Circus. Nick Kyrgios won 6-3, 6-3 against Aryna Sabalenka in an intriguing Dubai contest with celebrity interruptions. Nick Kyrgios won tennis's latest battle of the sexes against Aryna Sabalenka in a dispiriting contest in Dubai that veered uneasily between exhibition, gimmick, and outright circus. The Australian, who has won only one competitive singles match since the end of 2022 and has slipped to 671 in the world rankings, was sweating heavily and breathing hard as early as the fifth game of the match. Yet to no one's great surprise, the extreme power of his serve, combined with the spin and velocity of his ground strokes, proved too much for the women's #1 player. It was a really tough match, the 30-year-old Kyrgios insisted after his 6-3, 6-3 victory. I didn't know what to expect. She broke my serve numerous times, and honestly she was hitting some amazing shots. She is a hell of a competitor. It could have gone either way. Not many saw it that way. For while the modified rules of this contest meant that Sabalenka's side of the court was 9% smaller, that advantage was nullified by both players also being limited to one serve, a change that significantly favored Kyrgios. Almost every time the Australian fizzed down one of his howitzers, Sabalenka was left scrambling on the baseline. And while she hit plenty of winners and often moved better than her opponent, there was always a sense that Kyrgios could step up whenever he wanted. In the first set, the crucial moment came with the Belarusian serving at 40-15 up with the score level at 3-3. From looking in control, she served 2 faults in a row. Kyrgios sensed blood. Soon he had broken, held serve, and seen out the set. Kyrgios then appeared distracted as he went 3-1 down in the second set. But despite not moving well, he was able to gain control with a mix of power and junk tennis, especially through his sliced forehands that often had the 27-year-old rushing uncomfortably to the net. And in no time at all, he was able to win 5 games in a row to wrap things up. But mostly this was a tennis match for those who have only a passing interest in tennis. During one timeout in the second set, Sabalenka did the Macarena. On another occasion, the public announcer threw tennis balls from a Ralph Lauren bag. Meanwhile, on match point, Kyrgios used his 60-second timeout just to get his breath back. Earlier there was also a delay while the stadium PA announced that the former Brazil footballers Kaká and Ronaldo were making their entrance. For a contest that was expressly designed to appeal to the TikTok crowd, it seemed a curious choice. It was all a far cry from the famous Battle of the Sexes match between Billie Jean King and Bobby Riggs in 1973. True, Riggs was 55 and a long way past his prime. But the stakes couldn't have been much higher. King feared that if she lost it would push women's tennis back 50 years. Yet with every swish of her Wilson autograph racket, King struck a mighty blow for fairness, equality, and social justice. The Guardian called it the kind of crushing, tactical, technical, and psychological victory that ought to keep the male chauvinists quiet for a long time. It also popularized tennis in a way that no ordinary match could. The reaction on social media after Kyrgios's victory suggested that this latest match had done quite the opposite. The misogynists and inc-els were delighted. Tennis purists appalled. However, Kyrgios, whose fitness looked short of what will be required to play 5-setters in the Australian Open, insisted that it would help grow the game. "This is a great stepping stone for the sport of tennis," he said, before floating the idea of a rematch. This was all the world was talking about for 6 months. Sabalenka also indicated she would like to do it again. "I feel I put on a great fight," she said. "He was struggling, he was getting really tired. I feel like next time I play him, I know the tactics and his strengths and weaknesses." But ultimately the match told us what we know already. Men have enormous advantages due to puberty, and are faster, stronger, and more powerful as a result. Curiously, it was shown live on the BBC, which apologized 3 times for loss of pictures in the second set. Beforehand, its analysts, Russell Fuller and Annabel Croft, also sounded defensive when talking about the exhibition nature of the match, Kyrgios's past, including an assault on a previous girlfriend, and the fact it was promoted by the Evolve Player Agency, which represents Kyrgios and Sabalenka. This match, they suggested, was more about fun and entertainment than going toe-to-toe as if it was a grand slam. Those words were to prove prophetic. Although it did also make you wonder why the BBC had acquired the rights in the first place. In 1936, John Scott, son of the late Guardian owner and legendary editor C.P. Scott, did something unheard of for a media heir. He gave up his stake for the greater good. After inheriting the newspaper, Scott renounced all financial benefit, bar his salary, in The Guardian, worth £1 million at the time and around £62 million today, and passed ownership over to the newly formed Scott Trust. The trust would evolve to have one key mission: to secure the financial and editorial independence of The Guardian in perpetuity. That means The Guardian can't be bought. Not by private equity, not by a conglomerate, and definitely not by a billionaire looking for a political mouthpiece. Our independence means we can say what we want, report on who we want, challenge who we want, and stand up at a time when others are sitting down. But this unique model also means we depend on readers like you from Bangladesh to help fund our work. If you would rather the news you read was the result of decisions made by journalists and editors, not shareholders or ultra-wealthy tech bros, then, well, you know what to do. Kyrgios defeats Sabalenka, but the battle of the sexes veers too close to the circus. The night had been advertised as a spectacle, and like most spectacles it delivered exactly what it promised, and more of what it shouldn't have. Under floodlights bright enough to bleach the shadows off the court, Nick Kyrgios and Aryna Sabalenka walked into a battle of the sexes that was supposed to be playful, provocative, and progressive. Instead, it became a mirror held up to modern sport's uneasy love affair with entertainment, where the line between competition and carnival blurs until neither feels fully respected.